At the team offices at Joe Gibbs Racing after the checkered flag, the silence arrived before any words. Engineers lingered near the pit wall, radios still humming, their eyes fixed on the empty track where the cars had vanished minutes earlier. Somewhere beyond the garage doors, the crowd's roar had faded into a low drone, but inside the trailers the air felt heavier, the kind of quiet that follows a decision made in seconds but felt for minutes. Denny Hamlin walked out alone, his boots echoing on the concrete. He did not speak to anyone at first. He simply stood in the middle of the pit lane, watching the last of the spot trucks roll away, their lights bleeding red into the dusk. The scene held no celebration. It held only the aftershock of a move that had reordered the final order of the day. On the broadcast tape, the moment had lasted less than 8 seconds. But in those 8 seconds, the race had been rewritten. The final restart at the Worth 400 began like any other. The field compressed into a single mass of metal and noise, engines screaming as they drifted into turn 2. Hamlin had positioned himself cleanly on the outside, the path that normally rewards patience. He kept his car smooth, no wasted throttle, no aggressive line, just the steady rhythm a veteran uses when he intends to control the finish rather than chase it. For a few laps, it looked as though this would be his night, controlled, measured, unchallengeable. On the inside, Chase Elliott held the ideal staging spot. But he was not alone. Directly behind him, Alex Bowman had locked his rear bumper to the back of Elliott's trunk. Not a slight contact, not a test, but a full commitment. The distance between their cars shrank to a fraction of a wheel width. When the lights turned green, Bowman did not wait for space to open. He pushed. The push traveled through the straight, a sudden shift of momentum that tilted the whole field. Elliott's car responded the way it was meant to at 190 mph. The rear tyres bit, the car flattened into the corner, and the space between him and Hamlin vanished. In one clean motion, Elliott slipped inside, Hamlin lost clean air, and the order was fixed. No recovery pass remained. Once Elliott gained the lead, the result was already sealed before the cars even hit the back straight again. In the post-race interview trailer, Hamlin did not soften the truth. He spoke directly, no qualifiers, no attempt to frame the move as just racing. Bowman's push won that race, he said. Without it, it's a different story entirely. He meant it. The tape confirmed it. Bowman had not made any attempt to pass himself. No inside line, no dart for the high line, no second chance. He had committed 100% of his car's momentum to a single purpose: push Elliott forward and clear the path for the win. It was the definition of a teammate move, the kind that appears in team briefings but rarely plays out so cleanly at the end of a 300-lap battle. Yet that is where the tension began, because in the Cup Series, a move like that does not exist in a vacuum. It sits at the intersection of two competing truths: the logic of the team and the logic of the individual. Hamlin understood both. He has spent his career building a reputation not on teamwork alone, but on consistency, on the belief that a driver earns his result through his own performance, not through the momentum of a teammate's push at the finish. When he saw Bowman commit fully to Elliott instead of searching for his own opening, something shifted inside the calculation. It looked like teamwork. It felt like sacrifice. But it also looked like a decision to prioritize the team's immediate gain over the possibility of a personal win, something that, at this level, does not happen without deliberate choice. Hamlin described the push later as aggressive and borderline irresponsible. The word irresponsible landed heavier than intended, because at those speeds, on a packed restart, a misjudgment of even an inch changes everything. One slip of the front wing, one overcompensate into the apex, and the whole field collapses into a chain reaction. Cars stacking, wheels spinning, fire crews moving before the smoke even clears. Bowman's push lived in that narrow corridor between perfect execution and total disaster. He never wobbled. He never eased off. He drove the rear of Elliott's car like it was his own, and the result was a clean passage through a wall of metal that had no room to breathe. Still, Hamlin's frustration was not about the risk, it was about the outcome of the risk. He had done everything correctly. He had tracked a clean line, conserved tyres when it mattered, and positioned himself exactly where the veteran's instinct tells you to be when the finish approaches. And then, in the final moment, the result did not reflect his effort. It reflected a coordinated decision made by two other cars, a decision that did not require him to exist in the result at all. That is the paradox of modern NASCAR. Teams have evolved from collections of drivers into coordinated systems. The radio traffic between cars is no longer casual chatter, it is strategic communication. Crew chiefs make calls that affect 3 cars at once. Teammates are no longer just drivers sharing a garage, they are extensions of the same operational plan. Hendrick Motorsports in particular operates with a level of synchronization that few organizations in any sport can match. When Bowman pushed Elliott, it was not an impulsive act. It was the final piece of a plan that had been forming lap after lap, a plan where the win belonged to the organization, not to any single driver. And in that context, Bowman's move was not giving up a win. It was executing a win. He did not pass himself because there was no path. He did not try to force a run because the plan did not allow it. He pushed because the team needed a specific result at a specific moment, and he was the only car in position to deliver it. From Hamlin's side, though, the feeling was different. He is a driver who has built his identity on independence, on the idea that a race is won by the car in front of you, not by the car beside you. When he sees a teammate commit fully to helping another teammate take the checkered flag, it creates a cognitive mismatch. His mind reads the move as a removal of competition, not the enhancement of strategy. He did not lose because someone drove faster. He lost because someone chose not to contest him, and that choice came from a higher level of the game than he had anticipated. After the race, Hamlin avoided the word anger. He used the word acceptance. "It's fine," he said. "Elliott needed that win more than I did." That sentence carried the weight of a championship mindset. JGR sits strong in the points. The playoffs are the real target, not any single race. A win is valuable but not essential. Hamlin understands the long arc of the season, that consistency beats one-off victories when the stakes become high. So he could step back from his immediate frustration and see the bigger picture. His team remains in position, the points are intact, and there is no crisis to manage. But the feeling of the race slipping away, of a clean run erased by a coordinated push at the last moment, stays with a driver long after the radio silence of the trailer fades. For Chase Elliott, the win was anything but small. It arrived at a point in the season where confidence matters as much as speed. He had fought all race long, survived pit strategy, managed tyre wear, and weathered moments where the field closed in. The push from Bowman did not just give him the lead, it gave him certainty. He went from maybe to definitely. In that instant, the doubt left his driving. He could focus on the finish instead of the fight. For Elliott, this victory was not a statistical line in a results table. It was a reset button. It restored momentum after a stretch where results had been inconsistent. It reinforced the belief that his car, his crew, and his team could deliver when it mattered most. And in a sport where mental edge often separates contenders from champions, that reset is as important as any lap of fast time. Bowman, for his part, returned to the Hendrick garage without any fanfare. He did not seek praise. His role that day was defined by subtraction, by not taking a move that would have benefited him and instead delivering the exact contribution the team required. In the Cup Series, that is a rare form of discipline. Most drivers faced with a clean path to victory would have taken it. Bowman chose the less visible path, and in doing so he reinforced the idea that his value to the organization extends beyond his own performance. A plan executed without hesitation, a win secured through coordination rather than individual heroics. On the other side were those who saw a line crossed, a moment where the structure of the sport's competition was altered not by speed but by strategy. NASCAR has always contained elements of team racing. Drafting, pit communication, car sharing on short tracks. All of this has existed for decades, but the modern era has refined it into something more calculated. Crew chiefs now plan multi-car outcomes across entire fields. Teammates are expected to make sacrifices not just in spirit but in real-time driving decisions. The result is a sport where the difference between racing and coordinating can feel thinner than ever. Hamlin's reaction was not an outlier. It was a natural response to a shift he has watched unfold over years. He respects the teamwork. He values the coordination. But he also believes deeply in the individual's right to compete for every inch, especially when that inch represents a win. When he sees a teammate push another teammate to a victory while removing his own chance, it challenges the core assumption that has guided his career, that a driver's result should reflect his own performance, not the collective decision of a team. And yet there is no denying the effectiveness of what happened. The move worked. It was clean. It was safe, not because it was gentle, but because both drivers executed it with precision. At 190 mph, safe is a relative word, but in that moment it was safe enough. The field did not collapse. No cars jackknifed. No one was caught under. The push simply was a fact, not a theory. As the evening settled over the track, the cameras captured the usual post-race handshakes. There were no arguments, no public tension. That is the way these things are done in the Cup Series. The friction stays private until the next race, when the same cars line up again and the same questions return. Hamlin will carry that question into the next event. Elliott will carry the momentum. Bowman will carry the quiet knowledge that he did his job. And the field, 36 cars, 12 teams, countless strategies, will gather again at the next track, lining up for another restart, another moment where a push could change everything in under 8 seconds. The engines will turn over. The lights will blink. And for a brief instant, the whole season will hang in the balance. Not on speed alone, but on the choice each driver makes in that final moment. To compete for himself, or to commit for the team.